back. It's Community Conversations. I'm Miss Community Clovia. And joining me on the show this morning, the first weekend of May, is Richmond Mayor L. Douglas Wilder. Good morning.
Good morning, dear. It's always good to be with you to talk about all those things you like to talk about.
All of those things I like to talk about.
Right.
And you know, you're a hot button issue at one local television station. You know that?
Yeah, I hear that.
You hear that?
I hear that.
So with that in mind, let's set the record straight. We're live on the radio right now, and we're going to talk about the car allowances with the city of Richmond. Richmond Mayor Doug Wilder, now you had this money in your account and you didn't know?
Well, what you mean, not in my account. I had been paid, they say. I had never looked at my paychecks. I never have for years. I have the same secretary I've had for some 30 years, and my paychecks are deposited directly to the bank. I didn't run for this job to make money. As a matter of fact, I turned down and refused a $25,000 increase 2 years ago, proposed by the city council. And I didn't start off with anything other than driving my own car. And I was told that, and I think the ordinance reads that I can have a car or an allowance. Now, I have never had a city car. I don't have keys to a car now, and I don't have any car title to my name, and I do have security, and I use the police cars, and in security, they drive me. Are there occasions when I drive my own car? Yes. But when I started, I didn't have this security. When the chief changed it, they did not change it in the payroll account. When it was brought to my attention, I authorized my secretary, as Ms. Christian has said, to make whatever reimbursement was necessary, which has been made. Now, if I were trying to hustle the city, there are a whole bunch of ways I could have hustled it, which I haven't. I have not had a cost of living increase. I've had no increase in salary. As I said, I refused a $25,000 piece. So smoke screen, the money's been paid. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. And
well, I have this official document. City Chief Administrative Officer Shirley Hill Christian, she issued the following statement. The mayor signed all of the required forms on April 18th to authorize repayment of the auto allowance. A check in the amount of $25,900 was received on Friday by the city's finance department as paid in full.
Didn't have to go in a place to borrow it. Didn't have to ask anybody, would I have some time to pay it back? As soon as it was brought to my attention, I did what was necessary and did what I thought was the right thing to do. And I've done it.
All right. Glad
you brought it up, because our audience needs to know that. They need to hear that.
And we have to deal with all of these issues, and we want to give everyone an opportunity to address the issues. And, you know, I believe in dealing with the real.
Deal with it right straight up from the front. And that's what I say to people. Ask me anything you got.
And as far as other city employees with the use of the car allowances, like one employee, he left. He said he was forced to resign due to this.
I don't know that that was the case or not. The question was, there are people who have received a car and they've asked for mileage in addition to that, as well as an allowance. Now, I'm not going to go into any of those individuals because the rules relative to that, you're prohibited from going into personnel things publicly, so I won't go any further than that.
Okay, well, we just wanted to make sure we talked about that and clear that up on the show.
Thank
and
you.
Speaking of, election year, we have to get back on this election year.
Well, you're right. Another
we
thing
have some candidates that are running for mayor, and let's see, June 10th, Linwood is the deadline to submit.
For filing is June 10th, and I've heard several names mentioned that have said they were running, and my simple statement has been that of all the names mentioned, none of them change any of the things that I would do relative to whether I would run again or not. None of the names that I've heard have said, have impressed me to the extent that it changes my decision. I'll make a decision very shortly. I will let the public know. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be meeting with some people this evening who very much interested in me running again. I've received calls for the last month or so, people encouraging me to run from every stripe, from every level, letters that have been sent. And they're very much impressed with the direction the city has taken. The lowest crime rate in 26 years, businesses coming to locate in downtown Richmond, opportunities for people to see these changes, fixing sewer, fixing Battery Park to an extent that has never been fixed, $113 million in the pipeline already for the city of the future. Now that's money that we're spending, not tax money. Monies that I had sequestered from City of the Future funds that I was able to use as a result of just-in-time financing. Sewer lines being fixed, sidewalks being repaired. Westover Hills Boulevard, you look at the schools, you see that. And I wanted to build new schools. I still want to build new schools. I think it's very interesting, though, if you look. Some of the things I've done have been very criticized, much criticized. And yet, look what's happened. All of a sudden, the school superintendent says, I'm resigning. The chairman of the school board says, I'm gone. Which means that people are finally discussing that the problems in Richmond schools are not the result of a lack of money. $71 million we spend more every year than the state average. And yet we don't have the graduation rates that you have in Norfolk or in Portsmouth. We have higher dropout rates than everybody. You and I talked off air about the teachers who are breaking their necks and and people who are working hard to change that paradigm from dealing just with SOLs, teaching to the test, but making our kids more competitive, math and science. I want to build 15 new schools. I still want to do that. To the extent that we have collective leadership, we can do that. So one of the things that people are saying to me, among the things, is that, look, you brought us a little too far for you to leave now. Now, I want to bring something else to your attention. I brought one of the best police chiefs that we could have in the city, and that's Chief Rodney Monroe. People of Charlotte, North Carolina, among others,
splattered all over the news. I've seen it.
Pursuing him. They are in town this week. The list, I would not be surprised if by the time your listeners get here, it'll either be within the next several days, that list is going to be finalized by about 3 people. And he'll be one of those 3 at the top. They're going to pursue him. Do I want him to stay? Of course I do. But the question is sometimes raised, under what conditions would he have to stay? Every year that this chief has been here, the city council has messed with his budget. Every year. And guess what? No exception. This year, they're cutting his budget. This year, they're telling him he's got to come up with some $400,000 less. This year, they are authorizing $200,000 by the city council to have an audit of what he spends, when 90+% of what he spends is on salaries. He could just tell you, write a letter to tell you. You remember when I was trying to spend some money, about $200,000 to have an audit for public schools? Oh, that's too much money. They still haven't finished the audit in public schools. Mine would have been finished a year ago. And even then, we have found how much money the schools could have saved and save every year if they audit. So the question is the environment. The question is the appreciation. The question is how people want to work. And that's one of the things that is left with me in my decision. This is my home. I've lived here all my life. I love it. I want to see it improve. I think we have improved it. The real question is, are there people out there now who can carry it forth? Of the names that I've heard mentioned, I'll have to be as honest with you as I can. I have not seen it. Will there be other names coming forth? We'll see. Will mine be among them? we'll see that
We'll
too.
see that too. I know you're going to see that. Richmond Mayor L. Douglas Wilder is joining me on the show. Man, if you were running for re-election, what would your platform be like? $300 million for community improvements that you have for neighborhood parks, libraries, streets, and sidewalks. Approximately $113 million of the City of Future funding is already in the pipeline. $52 million for new and improved streets, $20 million for major improvements to the city parks, almost $9 million to provide state-of-the-art computers in city libraries, and the list goes on and on and on. What would your platform be like? Have you accomplished anything in the city of Richmond? We're going to